Hey everyone, this is kind of a double up for me. I missed a day prior, and this was a pretty eventful day. So I wanted to bring on a second topic, and that topic is about acceptance. It's something we don't talk about very much, particularly here in the United States. We talk about tolerance. We talk about mostly tolerance. It's how we quote unquote accept other people while still giving them grief about the things that make them different from us, which to me is a little different than acceptance. I had the good fortune of growing up in an area that was very diverse. It was pretty much smack dab in between New York City and Philadelphia, and in some high profile suburbs. So there were a lot of people that wanted to leave the city and get into a nice suburban area, and so they brought their families to there. And so we had just about every racial or ethnic demographic you can think of. There was somebody of that variety there. And so I came up in a place, in a time, in a culture that had a lot of everything. It really did. It had a lot of everything. I had cultural experiences of the type that many people in this country don't have until their 40s or 50s, and I had them in my early teens because that's just who I went to school with. That's just who lived in the neighborhood. But I want to differentiate this concept of acceptance from what I grew up in because I don't want anyone to be mistaken. I did not grow up in a culture where everyone was accepted for their different cultures. No, that was not the case. If anything, where I grew up, there was a large amount of tolerance because, well, they're here. They're a part of our community. They're a part of our school. They're a part of our neighborhood. So we will put up with them. We will deal with how they're different. We will deal with their food looks, tastes, and smells differently. We will deal with the fact that, when they go home to their respective families, they may not speak English. We'll deal with the fact that, they come into a school, they come into a business, they come into an establishment, and I can't tell at first glance where they're from, who they are, how fluent they speak English, and how long they've been here in this country, and whether or not they're American citizens. It was a big guessing game. Now, I say that, and the reality is that where I grew up was still overwhelmingly white. Overwhelmingly white, probably an even mix of Catholic, Protestant, and Jewish, but still overwhelmingly white. But it still had a grand amount of diversity compared to most parts of the country that I've seen, and I've done a fair amount of traveling around the country. So my experience was a little unique in that there were a number of different cultures that were put in front of me that I had to say, okay, well, if I accept them, I accept their culture. Let me learn more about their culture. What does this mean? What does that mean? What's sitting Shiva? What's what's a quinceañera? What's this hero about? What's this, that, and the other? I had to learn about a lot of different cultures, their history, their background, their religion, their holy days, and that helped. That helped. I mean, if anything, it opened my eyes probably a lot further than they might have been otherwise, because I came to experience a lot of cultures that were not, quote unquote, my own. Not that I knew my own all that well. But the one thing that did that kind of backfired on me was that in living in that where there were so many different cultures, and I couldn't take the my culture, my people, my religion, my belief, my race, my ethnicity, my whatever you want to call it is better than yours because we were all there. And I can tell you, I've been beaten in competitions, whether it be academic, athletic, dancing, artistic, spiritual, you name it, by just about every culture that's out there. So this concept of me and mine are better than you and yours was never going to stick. I had real life experience to say otherwise. And this concept that you and your culture are bad and me and my culture are mine wasn't going to stick either because I had enough real life experience with people to know that, the people that on screen or on camera or on media are the bad people. I met more than enough of them that were awesome people, wonderful people, people that I would recommend to anyone I ever meet because they are some of the nicest, most loving, most caring people I've ever met. At the same time, I met plenty of people that were supposedly, according to textbook and media and social, graces, supposed to be the wonderful people that were some of the biggest assholes I have ever met in my life. People I would not wish my worst ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, ex whatever. I would not wish my worst enemy on these people because they're just horrific individuals, despite the fact that on paper they should be fantastic. And I came to this understanding early on in life that people should be judged for who they are, not what they look like, not where they come from, not what language they speak, not what language they came from, not what country they came from, not what religion they practice, not their sexuality, not any of these other factors that we like to use to divide up the world's population. We should not be judged on those because there are wonderful people and there are assholes in every demographic you could ever want to find. And if you want to find it, it's not hard to find them. But that means you have to look past all of the wonderful people in whatever that demographic is. And part of the reason I say that is I spent a good while tonight talking with a man who, while he looked younger than me, was actually a good bit older than me, who happened to be one of the owners of the establishment that I was in, and had a fantastic conversation. I mean, this is one of those people that I feel truly blessed to have met, truly blessed to have spent time with. It was that kind of a connection. It was that kind of we are all in the same wavelength, where there was none of this, propaganda leads you and these people are good and these people are bad and this is right and this is wrong. There was none of that. There was a very similar same look at the world, which was, you are human, you are my family. You are human, you are my family. And I needed that reminder. I really needed that reminder because in this, particularly in the United States, in this political world that we're in, it's too easy, it's too quick, it's too, fast food. Let's just divvy the world up into the demographics we choose and then choose which one is us and which one is them. And then just go create an enemy or let an enemy be created for us and just believe it. And I don't get down that way. That's not how I look at the world. That's not how I look at people. It never has been. And God willing, it never will be. And I was looking for examples of people that see things the way I do. And I was having a hard time finding them, which is surprising because I know a lot of people and many of them I consider to be very, very, very good people. But what we're going through right now has revealed a lot of the hidden discriminations, a lot of the hidden prejudices of a number of people that I know, and it's kind of disheartening. It's really kind of disheartening because I really, I bought this part of propaganda, which is I really believe in America as the melting pot, America as the place where the best of the best around the world come to become one people. And just in the time and place that we are now, that's not the reality. And I wish it wasn't, but it's not the reality. And so I needed some reminders that there were still people that believe, as I believe, in humanity. Not in a God, not in a location, not in a leader, not in a politics, not in an ideology, but just believe in humanity. As we are a family, we are of the same stuff. And so we are equal and we can be judged based on who we are. Who we are. What's in our heart. What's in our head. Not what's on our skin. And the realization came to me and it almost brought me to tears, which was I don't know that I've ever had that experience here. I've lived in the United States all my life. I've traveled, but I've lived in the United States all my life. And I don't know that I've ever had that experience here, where I was among a group of people that paid zero attention to the color of my skin or the phenotype that identifies what ethnicity or ethnic group I come from, and just be treated as, well, this is another guy. Let's see if he's a good guy or let's see if he's an asshole. I don't know that I've had that experience before. And that makes me sad. That makes me sad because that means that the country that I know and love has made its business, professionally and socially, to just divide people up, to where we never look upon each other as equals. We always look upon each other as where our roles are in the hierarchy. Well, I'm better in this one. I'm worse in that one. Well, I'm over here. I'm over here. Well, you're there and I'm here. And so we can't look each other eye to eye because we don't see each other as eye to eye. We see each other as the rung that we hold on to in this hierarchy of racial ethnocentrism that says, well, racial gender ethnocentrism that says that this particular configuration is at the top and this particular configuration is at the bottom and everybody else fits somewhere in the middle depending on what we feel like at the time. And that's sad. It's very sad. It would be sad enough were I a single man having lived in America my entire life, no, girlfriend or wife, no kids. It would be sad enough in that instance. But in that instance, I know that I could perfectly well move to another country and start a new life like that and not think twice. But now that I've got kids, I've got their mother, I've got my own mother, who's in some dire straits. With those things on my shoulders, with those things around my neck, I have a very real anchor to this time and place. I have a very real anchor to I must be here in order to care for the people left that I still care about. My kids, my mother, and to some degree my ex-wife. But I'm the outlier. I wish I was the norm. I wish that we would educate people in a way that got to see all of American history, the good, the bad, and the flat out ugly, and let people make their own determinations, because that would inform how we populate, our House and our Senate, because we would have people that actually understand the past and understand what we have to get beyond in order to create the future.